Hi everyone, welcome to 2011 studies. We've got some studying to do here. This is really some amazing stuff. We're looking at the second year of Darius, and we've covered the seventh month of the second year of Darius as found in Haggai. We're covering a little bit further, I think I can upload that probably this week sometime, the 8th month of the second year of Darius. And somewhere in between there, between the 7th month, when the proclamation by God given to his servant that he will shake the heavens and the earth, and it says and the sea and the dry. This is really significant language, I'm finding out, and the more it requires a lot of study, and there's going to have to be more and more study on this, but I wanted to start to present this anyway, because the acceleration of these months is going to happen really quick, and before you know it, we will be in the 9th month, because that is somewhere between mid-December, around there, a little bit before mid-December. So, and that lines up with, as we've been studying, that the first year of Darius was when he took control, as the writing was on the wall and Belshazzar's kingdom was stripped from him. He died that night, and the kingdom was given to the Medes and the Persians. Well, that first year we had like this lull period, and then in the second year of Darius, the decree was to, the role was found to build the house of God as decreed by Cyrus. And it is this rebuilding process that I think is so important today, as the eternal house of God, as people become saved worldwide, that this language is talking about. And in Haggai, it says, well, let me just read this in Haggai 2:6. In Haggai 2:6, "For thus saith the Lord of hosts, yet once it is a little while, and I will shake the heavens and the earth and the sea and the dry land." Now, you have that reoccurring, that language reoccurring. That was in the 7th month, but it comes up again in the 9th month. So I'm pretty confident that it's not going to happen in, well, obviously, we've already passed the 7th month, so it wasn't for the 7th month, but it was like a prelude, God saying, further, a little further. But what's curious about this language is the wording of it. And let me cover some other stuff before I get to that. Well, anyway, the wording, let me get into this now, because I was trying to avoid it because it's not something I've fully studied, and I want to look at it really close before I present something, but I'll give you a good idea of what it's talking about anyway, just what I'm pondering here. Thus he says Yahweh. Now this is the ISA. Thus he says Yahweh host. Still or further, one of little she. Now when I've looked into that word she, it's sometimes referred to Jacob, and how God's people, the remnant, is small. And still a little bit further, the remnant will still be small, and then God will shake the heavens and the earth. And when you see that language in Haggai, when he shakes the heavens and the earth, the house, the glory of the latter house is greater than previously. So what's curious about this is the little one, and then it says, like quaking the heavens and the earth and the sea and the drained land. That could be translated as dry land. And I believe this is saying a little bit longer. She will be small, and then I will shake the heavens and the earth. Now this is coming in the 7th month of the second year of Darius. The 7th month. Now we've passed that. But this language repeats itself in the 9th month. And that is a very good possibility when God is going to do this. So let me finish reading Haggai 2:7, because I'll back up. Haggai 2:6. "For thus saith the Lord of hosts, yet once it is a little while, and I will shake the heavens and the earth and the sea and the dry land." Haggai 2:7, and I will shake all nations, and the desire of all nations shall come, and I will fill this house with glory, saith the Lord of hosts. The silver is mine, and the gold is mine, saith the Lord of hosts. The glory of this latter house shall be greater than the former, saith the Lord of hosts, and in this place I will give peace, saith the Lord of hosts. Now, we have to look at the language of the shaking of the heaven and earth. You know, is this a literal shaking? And even though there's great earthquakes going on, and as Christ proclaimed in Matthew 24 and other Gospels, even though that is happening, you have to look at the spiritual dimension of the shaking of heavens and earth, and the illustration God gives previously in His Word. So we know that Satan is judged for the shaking of the kingdoms. That's that same word, shaking. And in Isaiah 14, we have the context of the entire earth. Isaiah 4, I might have said Isaiah 17 just now. It's Isaiah 14. I'm sorry about that. Isaiah 14:26. This is the purpose that is purposed upon the whole earth, and this is the hand that is stretched out upon all nations. For the Lord of hosts hath purposed, who shall disannul it? And his hand is stretched out, and who shall turn it back? In other words, it's saying God's hand is going to do something, and there's no changing it. Then so you have the language of Satan being judged because he shook the kingdoms, the shaking of the kingdoms. Now, we've read this a few times in these studies, but this language will show how the shaking it's more of a spiritual aspect of it, a disruption of the kingdoms, in other words. And Satan had this control and power for a while until God reverses things. And God does compare Satan with the king of Babylon, so we know that this time of captivity, exiting out of the 8,400 days and into the final 7 years, when God starts reversing things, that it's very key to understand the timing of this. Isaiah 14, how art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? Now, the correct translation is howl you, son of dawn. How art thou fallen from heaven? Howl you, like howl, cry or scream, howl. Howl you, son of dawn. How art thou cut down to the ground, which did weaken the nations? For thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven, I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds, I will be like the Most High. Yet thou shalt be brought down to hell, to the sides of the pit. They that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee and consider thee, saying, is this the one that made the earth to tremble, that did shake kingdoms? Isaiah 14:17, that made the world as a wilderness, and destroyed the cities thereof, that opened not the house of prisoners. Okay. So here the language it's translated as this the man, but you can translate that as, is this the one? Is this the one that made the earth to tremble, that did shake kingdoms? Now, that shaking of the kingdoms is a similar word, or the same word as when God says, I will shake heaven and the earth. So we have a sort of a spiritual aspect of Satan turning this world into a wilderness by his shaking. And we have another illustration of God doing the shaking, and that's found, I hope I put this in here. I should have. Yeah. Okay, this is Judges 5:1. Then sang Deborah and Barak, the son of Abinoam, on that day, saying, praise ye the Lord for the avenging of Israel, when the people willingly offered themselves. Hear, O ye kings, give ear, O ye princes. I, even I, will sing unto the Lord. I will sing praise to the Lord God of Israel. Lord, when thou went out of Mount Seir, I'm sorry, let me back up here. When thou went out of Seir, which Mount Seir is a mountain. When thou went out of Seir, when thou marched out into the field of Edom, the earth trembled, the heavens dropped, the clouds also dropped water. I think, yeah, it's the translation of the earth shook, the earth trembled. The mountains melted from before the Lord, even that Sinai, from before the Lord God of Israel. So you have God's action causing the trembling of the earth, and the heavens dropped and the clouds dropped water. That can be positive language, actually, relating to the gospel. But I wanted to present that because that's one instance of a shaking that happens. Now we read in Haggai 2 how the 7th month of the 2nd year of Darius gives the promise of yet once a little while, and I will shake the heavens, the earth, the sea, and the dry. The promise given in the 7th month most likely will be met in the 9th month. And the reason I say that is because it's repeated, the language is repeated in the 9th month. Let's see, this is Haggai 2:20. And again the word of the Lord came unto Haggai in the 24th day of the month, saying, Speak to Zerubbabel, governor of Judah, saying, I will shake the heavens and the earth. I will overthrow the throne of kingdoms, and I will destroy the strength of the kingdoms of the heathen. And I will overthrow the chariots and those that ride in them, and the horses and their riders shall come down, every one by the sword of his brother. In that day, saith the Lord of hosts, will I take thee, O Zerubbabel, my servant, the son of Shealtiel, saith the Lord, and I will make thee as a signet, for I have chosen thee, saith the Lord of hosts. Now we can know this is the 9th month because of the language of the 24th day, because earlier in Haggai 2:10 it says, in the 4th and 20th day of the 9th month in the 2nd year of Darius came the word of the Lord by Haggai the prophet, saying. So we have in Haggai 2:20, that was Haggai 2:10, and Haggai 2:20, and it says, again the word of the Lord came unto Haggai in the 24th day of the month. But it doesn't list the 9th month there. You have to back up to find out which month it is. So we find it's at the 9th month this is mentioned. And this language, say you to Zerubbabel, viceroy or governor of Judah, and say, I quaking the heavens and the earth. That's the proper ISA translation of it. I quaking. Now, if that happens in the 9th month, that's pretty significant because God is turning things around. The translation in the King James is, I will quake the heavens and the earth, or I will shake the heavens and the earth. But this is saying, I quaking the heavens and the earth. And it almost sounds like present tense. Again, in the 9th month, which is about our December in 2012, coming up really close. One example of God quaking the earth is God avenges, and then we covered that in Judges, and the language of him, the earth trembled, the heavens dropped, and the cloud also dropped water. Praise ye the Lord for the avenging of Israel, when the people willingly offered themselves. And this whole language here, it really should be studied because it might be giving a clue to God shaking the heavens and the earth. One of the things I was looking at also is the individual phrases of Haggai 2:6. For thus saith the Lord of hosts, yet once is a little while, and I will shake the heavens and the earth and the sea and the dry. And I believe a translation of that can be related to a little bit longer. She will be small, meaning like Jacob is known as small, God's elect are known as small, and then God starts expanding things and changes that smallness. And that is related to shaking of the heavens and the earth. What else on this? Oh yeah, it mentions, I will shake the heavens and the earth and the sea and the dry. That dry land, it can be translated, when I looked in the ISA, it was translated as drained land. And there's one instance when the priests were carrying the Ark of the Covenant, the Word of God, housing the Word of God, and they went over Jordan, and God did this. He made the land dry so they can cross over Jordan, and it has a lot to do with the language related to some of the language of God bringing people out of Egypt in Haggai 2. So there's sort of with the drained land and the dry land, if there's not a connection there, it's going to take some study on that, but it seems like it is somewhat related. But we have to look at the language within the context of Haggai 2:7. And it says, I will shake all nations, and the desire of all nations shall come. I will fill this house with glory, saith the Lord of hosts. The silver is mine, and the gold is mine. Remember, the gold and silver that was taken out of the temple conquested by Babylon, you saw some of the illustrations of Belshazzar using the golden vessels. In that night he saw the writing on the wall. The returning of the silver and gold, I think it represents God's people. And I think that the silver is mine and the gold is mine, saith the Lord of hosts, is God saying, enough's enough. Now we're going to reverse things. No more stealing of the silver and gold, and the whole idea of captivity there. I will fill this house with glory. Now, obviously back then, the rebuilding of the house of God, the literal house of God, is quite different than now, because believers are lively stones in the house of God, and God filling his people with his Spirit worldwide, as people become saved worldwide, the glory of the latter house will be greater than the glory of the first. Than the former. It says in Haggai 2:9, the glory of this latter house shall be greater than of the former, saith the Lord of hosts, and in this place I will give peace, saith the Lord of hosts. God does give peace to his people, and that's an important aspect of this. So we have more to study on this. There's no doubt about it. This has been just a quick review. I almost did not post this tonight, but the way these months will accelerate quickly, we have to touch on things as we go. And since this was related to the 7th month, the proclamation of God shaking the heavens and the earth, and then repeated again in the 9th month, on the 24th day of the 9th month, which lands in our December, that's important language. And that has to be, given as a comfort to God's people, because God is going to, reverse things. And there's going to be some great reversals, I believe, going on. There's other language that I haven't covered tonight, but I will later, that when God is angry, he shakes the heavens and the earth too. And that's another aspect of this. We've read the language of the heathen, the nations forwarding the affliction. He was a little wroth, he was a little angry, and then that accelerated that anger. And I think we have to also look at shaking the heavens and the earth in a dual meaning. In other words, it could have two applications. One is where God provides blessing and makes the small larger or greater, his people grow, and then he also brings judgment. And this relates to God being wroth or angry with the affliction that was brought upon his people. So that's where we're at. And there's language here, and I read it just a little while ago, about how God will have every one by the sword of his brother. I will overthrow the throne of kingdoms. I will destroy the strength of the kingdoms of the heathen, the nations, and I will overthrow the chariots and those that ride in them, and the horses and their riders shall come down, every one by the sword of his brother. That's fascinating language, because there's language in Haggai also about every neighbor. At one time in history, every neighbor was set against himself, and sword against sword. We see this sword against brother, every sword. God controls everything, and he has done this in the past biblical history, where an army would be fighting, and all of a sudden there's division within the ranks of the army, and they're fighting against each other. That is an aspect of God's judgment that is mind-blowing, because he controls that. He controls when it happens and how it happens. So I know that there seems to be a time we've gone through, and even now, where it seems like every neighbor is against themselves and every man's sword is against himself. But here we have language of God reversing things. And again, this language of every man's sword, everyone by the sword of the brothers, that's how the riders will come down. When God overthrows the throne of kingdoms and destroys the strength of the kingdoms of the nations. Man, this is exciting. We've waited a long time, and some of this language we're looking at right now. Well, I presented this in about July 17th, I think it was July 17th of 2011, and seeing some of this language on what's going to happen. But knowing now a more precise time that this is going to take place is even more so important. And I've sort of put down all their studies right now, because the second year of Darius, in which we are living, is an extremely important aspect. And so is the fourth year, and so is the sixth year when the temple is complete. And so is the year after that. But I'm not going to get into that right now. What we know is that there's a 7-year period after 2011. And what I believe, like in 3.5 years, within 3.5 years, the glory of Moab will be contemned. The glory of the fallen houses of God will be brought low. Historically, God did this by bringing the Assyrian army against them. And within 1 year, the glory of Kedar will fail. That was just the trickling effect of the Assyrian army coming and doing that type of destroying. How God does it this time, I don't know. But the glory, those who have lifted themselves up in the houses of God and done things as Satan has taken his seat, which is his nature, and as he lifts himself up to be worshipped, people seeking after signs and lying wonders and all that activity. An adulterous generation seeks after a sign. I presented a study on that. Go back and look at that language in that video. We're not to be seeking after signs, because Christ warned against that, because he knew the end time would be all about Satan coming with signs and lying wonders to cause deception, basically. So that's where we're at. We're at the second year of Darius, and this is so important. I don't mind if you share these videos with anybody through emails or whatever, because I think people who understood the 8,400 days ending in May 21, 2011, and then there was a question, what happened? Well, this is what happened. God was long-suffering, and we had to go the full cycle of the flood to where he hid his face, the waters of Noah. There's a video up on that. And then after that, we entered into the second year of Darius, where this rebuilding process starts. And look at the language of Zerubbabel, the video on that, how the Eben was in the hand of Zerubbabel. When we see that Eben in the hand of Zerubbabel with the 7 eyes, the 7 spirits of God go out throughout the whole earth. There's a rebuilding, not by strength, not by might, but by my spirit, God says, that this building will happen. And it is so significant that we're in the second year of Darius. When I say that, what I mean, we're reliving the time frame of the second year of Darius in the year 2012 and into 2013, and then it goes from 13 to 14 to be the third year, and so on, until we get to the year 2017, when which relate to the 6th year of Darius, and how the temple being complete. And we'll talk about 2018 a little bit further. There's more to be studied on that, definitely, though, because there's 4 chapters after the temple is complete. And there's probably other language in the Bible which relates to, why there's a little bit of time even after that. So that's where we're at. We're in the 2nd year of Darius, and this is something to get excited about, because God's power, the more I study the Bible, the more I see the power of God and how His hand just controls everything. And to think that we are reliving an historical account in a very spiritual way, because God, the building of God's house is done by God's Spirit going forth and saving people, and the glory of that house will be greater than the glory of the former. Obviously, when you're dealing with God saving sinners worldwide and coming into His kingdom, and that kingdom is eternal. That's not a house that's going to get destroyed here on earth. That's eternal. That's why it's greater, the greater glory. And it could even be in a more abundant or even larger than, because it is worldwide. So that's it for now. My name's Marty Catuzzo. You want to email me. It's at 2011studies@gmail.com. Please do so. If you have questions, I'm setting up that. If you have prayer requests, I'm setting up that too. I have no problem with doing that. I encourage people to email me. And sometimes when people ask questions, it does help in me furthering study on something else that I would have not even looked at before, or gone back to and to look at. So if you have something to present, please do so in an email, and I'll respond and get back to you. Anyway, God bless you and have a good week.